Hello, and welcome to A Brand New Day with BTS, a podcast dedicated to bringing you a day-by-day history and song discussion of the South Korean music group internationally known as BTS. It's Suga's birthday special this episode. We talk about what's happening in the past 2 weeks, how Suga and BTS have celebrated his birthday over the years, and People, arguably Suga's favorite song off his D2 project released in 2020. Recent BTS activity, February 15th to March 5th. This episode is going to be long already. I know because I typed up the script. So, I'm not going to comment on every single Instagram post, but just give a chronological overview of the highlights from the past 2 weeks. Cutoff date is March 5th in order to get this episode posted in time. So if anything major happens between the 5th and Suga's birthday, that's why I don't talk about it. Let's start with Lunar New Year, which was the day before J-Hope's birthday. Many of the members posted photos and Happy New Year messages on the day. V posted photos from recent photo shoots. RM posted his New Year's meal and also a photo of his wind chime on his balcony. Suga posted very adorable photos of his cat Tang. J-Hope posted photos of the traditional New Year's spread one does for the ancestors, and Jin posted a photo of himself standing out in the snow. J-Hope's birthday was very busy for BTS. J-Hope himself had 3 different schedules that day. We also got news of donations he had made to commemorate his birthday. These included 200 million won to Seoul Asan Medical Center Children's Hospital, 100 million won to children's welfare organization Green Umbrella for scholarships for students in Gwangju, and 50 million won to animal welfare-related charities. RM posted a funny meme of J-Hope's hair turning into a bird and flying away and wished him a happy birthday. He also posted the first video of himself driving. He looked very cute and nervous as a new driver. He then posted a funny screen cap of a text conversation with his mother in which she found the video re-uploaded onto YouTube and wondered if it was real or fake. J-Hope posted a couple of TikTok videos about his birthday and then came live on Weverse to celebrate with ARMY. He didn't give any spoilers for the album beyond saying that the first track makes his heart race. He's thinking of redoing his studio and changing its look. He feels like he's pulled all the inspiration he can out of the studio as it looks right now, and it's time for a change. He also let us know that he got food poisoning over the holiday and ended up not enjoying Lunar New Year at all. Jin dropped by for a second to joke around, and J-Hope let us know that Jin was working out a lot these days. J-Hope also reminisced about the past a little, about how he enjoyed the Boy With Love promotions the most because they were in their best condition then mentally and physically, having finally completely recovered from the hardship they had in 2018. This is also when he told us about how busy his day was, but having so many schedules also meant that he got sung Happy Birthday 3 times and ended up with 7 cakes. The What Is Your Love Song promo continued for Arirang, and RM chose Heaven, V chose his solo song Friends, JK chose Flower by Johnny Stimson, J-Hope chose Higher by J. Cole, which is the song that made J-Hope a fan way back when, and Jimin chose Die With A Smile by Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. On YouTube, they released individual playlists with 15 to 17 of their favorite love songs, and that's it. Okay, let's get into the first of the less than fun things that happened that I should probably talk about even though they're not fun. Part of the court documents used in the trial between Min Hee-jin and HYBE were leaked to the press, which showed that Min Hee-jin had submitted text conversations between herself and V as evidence, presumably evidence that V was on her side or something. V posted on Instagram expressing both surprise that text messages would be both submitted to court and leaked to the press without his consent, and clarifying that at the time that the text conversation took place, Min Hee-jin was still working in the company and V was trying to be nice to a colleague. It wasn't meant to be an honest indication of him choosing a side. Now, just for general info, in South Korea, one person that took part in a text conversation can submit the text to court without needing the approval of the other person, but any names not involved in the trial are supposed to be anonymized when any court documents are published. So the fact that V's name was not anonymous indicates that the press got a hold of a copy of the court files that was intended for either HYBE or Min Hee-jin's legal team, and not the copy that is available upon request for the press. So this very much was a leaked document, and highly unlikely that Hybe is the one to leak it, especially given that it served as a nice distraction from the fact that the KOMCA published a letter an hour earlier coming out strongly against Min Hee-jin and her actions. Anyway, likely to show Army that he wasn't too upset at all by it and would continue just living his life and winning, V did a short live stream from his new house the next day. We got a little mini tour of some of his new plants and the art that he's hung up so far. The place looks really cozy, and I love the paint colors that he's chosen for the walls. He hasn't had time to organize everything yet, but it's definitely looking like a really relaxing place to live. The second not that fun thing that happened started out really fun. JK went out on the town with his older brother and his friend from Busan, who is his current housemate. When they got home, they were singing karaoke in JK's basement, and JK decided that he wanted his favorite people to meet his other favorite people. So he turned on a live stream so that Army could hear his brother and his friend singing. They're both really good singers. And JK says his friend is going to take some vocal lessons with him soon. Neither his brother nor his friend came on camera to protect their identities, but we could hear their voices. And when his brother lit up a cigarette, JK told him to sing instead of smoking, and then shared the good news that JK himself has quit smoking. So yay, good news! For those who follow BTS closely, I'm not talking stalker level, but just closely, it's been a fairly open secret that some of the members smoke, JK being one of them, at least before. JK's brain then caught up with his emotions, and he realized that he was likely going to get in trouble due to the cultural pressures in both South Korea on idols, and also the pressure of Hybe both being a traded company on the stock market and being the current target of a negative press campaign staged by industry competition, which means that anything even slightly controversial is blown ridiculously out of proportion. Jungkook said during the live that he'd likely delete it afterwards, and he did, but he also acknowledged that it was already too late and it'd be uploaded to YouTube and clipped everywhere. But he did still delete it, so you can't find it on Weverse. If you're curious what he said, you can find an accurate translation on YouTube by either Hiveboy or DJ Gino. Just a side note, at one point, JK was listing types of haters, and he said, people who want to kill me. There was some concern online that he meant that literally, but reliable translators agree that he meant metaphorically and was not referring to actual death threats. Anyway, after staying up all night, sharing loving messages with Army after the live ended, JK was proven unfortunately correct, and the press produced a small tempest in a teapot that made them look like absolute idiots, in my opinion, rather than it saying anything bad about JK. Like I said, JK was actually sharing really good news, which will hopefully inspire young people to quit smoking, now that they have a role model who has successfully worked hard to do so. The bulk of what JK talked about in his live was this war between JK's desire to live honestly, while also trying to have a career in both an industry and a country that views that level of honesty as a character flaw rather than admirable. In my opinion, it's a culture clash between the established industry norms and the younger generation. I do think we'll see more than just Jungkook pushing against the industry standards the more time goes on. Jungkook is in a unique position to basically do whatever he wants, though, so I do hope he does. I also understand his point, however, that he likes the people he works with and he doesn't want to make their lives harder just because he wants to follow his own whims and not be told what he can and can't do. We closed out February with J-Hope celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Hope on the Stage tour starting, and V posting some really nice modeling shots of Celine, and Jin posting some very nice photos of himself enjoying the early spring weather. RM started March off with us on the 3rd with a photo of all his unorganized books. He also seems to have moved his studio coffee table to his house. For those of you who are like me and like wooden furniture and can recognize a nice coffee table when you see it more than once. On March 4th, KST, we got the track list for Arirang, as well as the song credits for each track except for the one titled number 29, which a Forbes article released the same day claims is an interlude. Interludes have composers though, so I'm still interested in this mystery. The members have credits on all songs, as well as many award-winning international producers and songwriters. P-Dog and Ghost Loop are also familiar Korean names in the credit list. Anyway, like I said, all members except Jin took part in the writing in at least one track. Jin's absence in the writing credits isn't too surprising. given he was touring when the song camp happened, likely by design. Obviously, there's always some outrage whenever anything happens, but it's actually quite normal for Jin not to have any writing credits on an album. It doesn't mean he's not on the album. It doesn't mean he doesn't contribute creatively. He has an amazing voice. He makes a lot of decisions in the recording booth that get incorporated into the final song without his name necessarily going into the credits. Like there's ad libs, there's ways you sing a phrase. He's very much involved in the creative process. They also would not have moved forward with any tracks without his approval. He's very much involved. Similarly to, like, you wouldn't say that JK had absolutely no hand in his solo album, even though he wasn't in any of the writing credits. He chose all those songs. He's the one that sang them. It's the same with Jin. So please ignore the crazy people online. Jin is not a hard done by repressed artist. He's doing quite well for himself, and he's contributing just as much as he wants to contribute. We also got a Netflix trailer for the comeback live on the 21st. It's amazing. The trailer, I mean. The comeback live is also going to be amazing. But yeah, so the trailer came out on, I think, the 5th, and the comeback live will be on the 21st. I said that all backwards. Anyway, it's amazing. The trailer would have been filmed likely in early September last year because JK still has his central lip piercing, which he only had for about a month, but he did film a lot of things in that month. And that wraps up the news. I'm so excited for the comeback. It's ridiculous. More articles and Instagram posts from the producers have been posted since the tracklist came out, and I won't go into any details about it here, but it's at least sounding like this album is going to be amazing, and I'm really looking forward to listening to it. There won't be another news segment from me until after the comeback. I'll talk about that later. But yeah, that's your news up until the 5th when I had to record this. So there you go. This day in BTS history, March 9th. It's Suga's birthday, so we start on March 9th, 1993. Min Yoongi is born in Daegu. He has one older brother. We don't have the details, but his mother becomes ill either immediately after or soon after he is born, which requires fairly intense surgery and possibly a pacemaker. He lives with his grandmother for a while very young for this reason. He talks about this in his HYYH, The Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 1 album review, and also in the lyrics to his song Amygdala from the Agust D album D-Day. We'll jump ahead to Suga's trainee life in a moment, but some notes about his childhood. When he was around 12, he saw the movie The Last Emperor in a local theater and fell in love with the soundtrack by Ryuichi Sakamoto. Suga was inspired to begin composing. Either that year or shortly after, Suga heard Epic High's song Fly and the song Ragamuffin by Stony Skunk, and he decided he wanted to be a rapper. March 9th, 2010. I don't actually know what he was doing on this precise day, but by his 17th birthday, Yoongi was working and performing with the crew D-Town in Daegu. March 9th, 2011. Yoongi's 18th birthday was his first birthday at the big hit trainee dorm in Seoul. At this point, RM and J-Hope were already there, but it would be another month before the vocal line would start joining the company. And I just realized that in this episode, I'm going to go back and forth between saying Yoongi and Suga a lot. So we all know Yoongi and Suga, pretty much interchangeable names. March 9th, 2012. By Yoongi's 19th birthday, we finally have nearly all members of BTS in the dorm with him. The only one who hasn't moved in yet is Jimin. But it was around this time that he passed his audition in Busan. This was also the year that Yoongi graduated high school. March 9th, 2013. The first birthday that Suga is able to celebrate with ARMY is his 20th. BTS haven't debuted yet, but they've started posting on Twitter and preparing. At this point, it's probably only been about 2.5 months since Suga was in a car accident that damaged his left shoulder. And I say this because of a particular moment you might see if you watch the log that Suga recorded on this day, which you can find with subtitles on the Bangtan Subs YouTube channel. Suga begins to film the log for ARMY and then is surprised by J-Hope, Jimin, and RM bringing in a cake and singing to him. Suga is trying to hide how happy he is and blows out the candles. Then J-Hope enthusiastically starts smacking him, as boys do to each other on their birthdays. The problem is that J-Hope completely forgot about the sore shoulder and was smacking his left arm. So this log is actually a very rare instance where you'll see Suga very quickly scold J-Hope and J-Hope sincerely apologize, all within like 2 seconds. Suga then smiles like nothing happened and ends the log, but it's a very interesting moment, in my opinion, because it does show a very real relational moment. I should also point out that at this point, even the members didn't know about the car accident. Suga had told them he fell down the stairs, and he never mentioned just how badly his shoulder was injured. He had likely been wearing a sling for a bit after finally getting medical treatment for it, but the members wouldn't find out about how bad the accident and the injury actually was until 2017, when Suga finally told them. March 9th, 2014. Suga's 21st birthday is spent promoting Boy in Love on Inkigayo, as well as having a small mini fan meeting outside the building just before their appearance. In advance of the fan meeting, Suga had prepared 300 personalized individual gifts for ARMY who attended. After the fan meeting and before their appearance, Suga and his BTS member helpers quickly prepared more gifts to make up for the difference because unexpectedly more than 300 ARMY were in attendance. You can see the behind the scenes of Suga preparing the gifts in the Bangtan Bomb Suga's birthday support event. Twitter is, of course, full of activity. Everyone tweets selfies wishing Suga happy birthday while they're at the salon that morning. Suga tweets a selfie with crying tears added with his thanks. Once they're at the event, another round of selfies get tweeted, this time holding the gifts Suga made for ARMY. After the schedule ended, Jin tweets a photo of the seaweed soup that Suga enjoyed for his birthday, and Suga tweets a series of selfies and thanks everyone for the happiest birthday he's had in 22 years. Just a side note here that BTS have a very hard time knowing how many years they've been alive because of the Korean age system. March 9th, 2015. On Suga's actual 22nd birthday, BTS are likely traveling back to Korea from Taiwan, where they had a concert the night before on their Red Bullet tour. They are once again active on Twitter, wishing Suga a happy birthday. The theme this year is to tweet a photo of themselves asleep or looking sleepy and wish Suga a happy birthday, basically teasing him good-naturedly for how tired he often is. Suga tweets a photo of a bath bomb that he's treating himself to on his birthday, and JK takes time to tweet recommend the song Baby Blue by King Cruel and Memo by Years and Years. Suga films a log talking about how he made gifts for fans this year as well, which include a short letter, a Polaroid, and a transportation card. He talks about how he puts his heart into these gifts and how much he loves ARMY and is thankful for them. March 9th, 2016. Suga begins his 23rd birthday by going on live stream called FM 3.09 Mini Radio with Suga. He treats it like a true radio show, and after J-Hope joins him in the studio, he pretends to call a correspondent in Daegu, which ends up being Jimin, after JK doesn't answer his phone. Jimin and V, however, are on their way into the room with cake and a gag gift of mackerel fish, which is a Korean pun. Jimin gifts him an expensive black sweater. Suga is eventually able to reach RM on the phone, and then Jin calls on his own. This all happens at midnight. Twitter is once again full of birthday wishes, with Hobie sharing a video of Suga dancing from their trainee days. The others also post photos and videos of Suga. RM tweets a whole letter about how even though Suga is like a grandpa sometimes, he's also a genius and the coolest in the studio. Suga tweets a teaser for a track he's working on and mentions that he's planning for a mixtape. Finally, BTS sleep, but the day isn't over, and before the 10th, they do a photo shoot for their upcoming concert merch content. You can see this photo shoot on their Memories of 2016 DVDs. March 9th, 2017. For Suga's 24th birthday, J-Hope takes us down memory lane as he tweets a selfie of himself at Suga from July 2011, a photo at Eminem's concert in 2012, another photo in the fall of 2013, at the Han River in 2014, on the stage together in 2015, before their first joint live stream in 2016, and finally at the You Never Walk Alone photo shoot in 2017. Jimin tweets a photo of Suga dressed as Yoonji from Run BTS episode 11 and tells Suga to wake up quickly so that he can give him his gift. Jin tweets a photo of Suga and J-Hope and wishes him happy birthday from his roommate. Not to be outdone by all this sentiment, Jungkook edits an entire video for Suga, which is basically a rapid-fire compliment fest. You can watch a translation of the video on the Bangtan Subs YouTube channel. It's titled 170309, JK's birthday video to Suga. A warning that you really will need to have your finger on the pause button or take advantage of the option to slow down playback because it's really rapid fire. I often think of this video as the very first forgotten Golden Closet film. V also tweets a photo of Yoonji. RM tweets a photo of Suga as a trainee looking absolutely exhausted. Jimin tweets a selfie from a plane because BTS are on their way to Chile for the Wings tour. Before they left, J-Hope and JK did surprise Suga in his studio with a cake, but he was too tired that he couldn't even blow out the candles, and J-Hope had to do it for him. Jimin writes Suga a letter for his birthday, and they're so busy that Suga doesn't read it for another month and a half, though he did remember to pack it and take it on tour with him. They arrive in Chile, still technically on Suga's birthday, since they flew across the international date line going east. RM nearly loses his passport again before they deplane, but luckily one of the airport staff find it. They all go out to dinner except Suga, who is still exhausted and stays at the hotel to sleep. You can watch a lot of this day in episode 2 of their docu-series Burn the Stage, available on YouTube Premium. Though the dinner might be on the 10th, it's unclear in the documentary how much time has passed since they landed. March 9th, 2018. J-Hope and RM surprise Suga with a cake at the studio for his 25th birthday. They also fill Twitter again with happy birthday messages, though Jimin gets distracted and comments on RM's tweet of J-Hope bringing Suga the cake to make sure everyone knows that he thinks J-Hope is very cute. Jimin then tweets a video of Suga dancing to Best of Me. Suga replies to Jimin's video asking why he's laughing while he's filming, and tweets again to say that he should really be part of the dance line. Jimin replies that Suga does indeed dance well, and that Jimin is on his way to get him. Jin and V also tweet photos of Suga, and an unknown member, who might be JK, also tweets photos of Suga in the practice room. It's all especially heartwarming this year when you know that BTS are coming out of arguably the roughest part of their career, which happened at the beginning of the year. I go into more detail about it in a special Patreon-only episode, but who knows, I might release that episode to everyone someday. March 9th, 2019. Suga has dance practice on his 26th birthday. You can watch the members surprise him with cake in the Bangtan Bomb Suga's surprise birthday party. The day actually started with J-Hope tweeting photos and happy birthday, Jimin tweeting a video of himself mouthing the words happy birthday and I love you, and asks if Suga read his texts yet. Jin tweets happy birthday to Suga too, with a screen cap of a brief text conversation in which Jin just says happy birthday and then you know it, right? And Suga replies with thank you. RM tweets a little drawing of their BT21 characters in which Koya is eating Shuki. After dance practice, Suga has lunch with his family where his brother makes him seaweed soup, and then he goes to his studio and does a live stream with ARMY. This is the live stream where V drops by and refuses to leave until Suga returns his I love you. Suga also explains in the live stream that he told the others that he doesn't want gifts anymore, and he'd prefer not to give them either, because it's too much pressure. And honestly, same. I love getting gifts, and I used to love giving them, but at a certain point, it just became too much pressure to get the right gift. And after feeling like I failed to do so a few times, I lost the joy of gift giving. Sorry, off topic. When V drops by, he argues that he's still going to give Suga things. Suga is confused as to how V even knows the password to his studio, but V just replies that he drops by from time to time. J-Hope then drops by, leaves again, and then pulls Lee Hun into the live stream as well. For those who don't know, Lee Hun is BTS's only senior artist at Big Hit. He was a member of a duo, and then when the duo disbanded, he stayed on as a soloist. He was serving in the military during their debut years. After the live stream, V tweets happy birthday to Suga and says it was nice hearing the I love you and he should say it more often. JK tweets a photo of Suga and J-Hope and asks Suga to take him out for lamb skewers. Suga tweets thank you for all the birthday wishes. March 9th, 2020. Suga's 27th birthday isn't going the way he pictured, I'm sure. They just finished wrapping up their promotions for Map of the Soul 7, only they did it all to empty rooms because the pandemic has just begun. It's a hard time. Just the day before his birthday, BTS are told that their April concerts are completely cancelled. They still carry out their dinner plans, in a private, safe room, of course, where they surprise Suga with a cake. On Suga's actual birthday, I think they have the day off. Suga did his birthday live stream the day before. J-Hope tweets a video of them surprising Suga with the cake the day before, and a video of Jin paying for the bill. RM also tweets funny photos of Suga and happy birthday, and Suga thanks everyone for the birthday wishes. March 9th, 2021. RM, J-Hope, and JK tweet photos and videos of Suga and happy birthday messages. Jimin and another member of BTS go back to their roots and tweet photos of teasing Suga for being sleepy all the time. And they tweet photos of Suga sleeping along with their birthday wishes. In the morning, BTS film an interview with radio.com. Afterwards, Suga does a live stream to say hello. JK drops by to sing happy birthday and then leaves. Suga had his shoulder surgery in the fall of 2020 and has been in recovery for 4 months now. He shows off that he can now raise his left arm straight over his head, but says he still gets shaky if he tries to lift things and can't rotate his arm completely. So he's not done his rehabilitation yet. He can play the guitar again, however. The continuing pandemic is depressing for Suga, who wants to perform and feels bad for kids who can't play sports after lunch. He says that's the only reason he ever went to school. After the live stream, he tweets a thanks for all the birthday wishes. It's also a Tuesday, so Run BTS episode 132 airs, which was filmed in October 2020 before Suga's surgery. March 9th, 2022. Suga's 29th birthday is busy with concert rehearsal for their Permission to Dance on Stage Seoul concerts. Because of being so busy on his birthday, he once again did his birthday live stream the night before. Despite having their Instagram accounts now, RM still sticks with Twitter to wish Suga a happy birthday, calling him Wumper, the Pokemon. J-Hope also sticks with Twitter tradition, but also posts on Weverse and Instagram too, just to hit all of his social media accounts with photos from his archive. Friend of BTS, Halsey, also wishes Suga a happy birthday on their Instagram, posting a purposefully blurry picture of him meeting her baby. Halsey calls him her twin, which then leads to a funny exchange between the two, where Suga reminds Halsey he's 1 year older, and she then calls him grandpa instead. Most Instagram activity is concert related, with the boys posting photos from backstage. Jin also still tweets his birthday wishes to Suga, though. Suga tweets a photo of his family's dog, Holly. After concert rehearsal finishes, Jimin and JK also tweet a selfie wishing Suga a happy birthday. All other social media activity is BTS members warning ARMY of how cold it's going to be. ARMY aren't allowed to stand or shout during the concert, so they'll just be sitting there in the cold air. So BTS are understandably worried that they'll freeze in the March weather. March 9th, 2023. Suga's 30th birthday occurs firmly in Chapter 2 for BTS. The group is on a break. Jin has enlisted in the military, and Suga has already announced his upcoming solo world tour. Suga starts a live stream 5 minutes before midnight and chats with ARMY. Jimin joins the chat briefly. He's also about to release his solo album, so the two of them are very busy. Suga talks about preparing for the tour in his talk show Suchita, and how much his mother loved his long hair and was sad when he cut it. Suga also looks through his Me Myself photo book that was released for his birthday. The photographer is a friend of his named Kim Young-jun, and he's also the photographer that took the professional photographs that Suga sometimes posts to his Instagram. Side note, unfortunately, those pictures are no longer on his Instagram. ARMY have saved them, however, so you can always find them still, but not on his Instagram, unfortunately. He did a Instagram cleanup the other day, and some of those photos were unfortunately the ones that either got deleted or archived. This is the live stream where Suga first brings up seeing Subin of TXT do the Sorry I'm Cute challenge in a fan call, and he was amazed at how good he was at it. This eventually leads to Suga doing that challenge hilariously poorly multiple times until he enlists. Suga teases Jimin, who is still watching, that he he's going to call in to Jimin's fan calls and ask him to do it. Jimin tells him that he'll just hang up. Hilariously, this actually happens, though Jimin doesn't hang up, he just laughs. Suga also fetches his guitar upon request and sings It's Not Love If It Hurts Too Much by Kim Kwon-sok. By the time he finishes, J-Hope, V, and JK have also joined Jimin in the chat, but Suga doesn't notice or ignores their comments and signs off without responding to them. Jimin posts a video on Weverse of him singing Happy Birthday along with Suga while watching the live. J-Hope comments laughter at Jimin's video. JK posts that he's sad that Suga never replied to him in the chat. J-Hope comments, me too. Jimin replies saying that he can't relate because Suga had a whole conversation with him when he was in the chat. JK admits that he entered the chat too late. Hobie revives their Twitter account yet again to post a selfie with Suga taken in 2011 and happy birthday. Once everyone is asleep, Jin comments on JK's post as a way to wish Suga a happy birthday. RM recommends Sacrifices by Dreamville and posts some photos of art. Hobie shares a clip from J Park Show Drive on his Instagram, and then a letter on Weverse thanking everyone for the reception of On the Street. Suga posts thanks for all his birthday wishes on Weverse. Both J-Hope and Suga appear on TXT's TikTok account doing dance challenges with their juniors. March 9th, 2024. Suga is doing his mandatory civil service on his 31st birthday. It's culturally normal when celebrities do civil service that they refrain from using social media, even though, unlike the regular military, they don't have their phones confiscated for most of the day. So we don't hear from Suga on this day or the other members who are also enlisted, except Jin, who uses his phone time in the barracks to comment on the last post he did on Weverse in order to wish Suga a happy birthday. March 9th, 2025. Suga is still enlisted along with almost everyone else on his 32nd birthday, but Jin and J-Hope have both been discharged. Hobie has just released Sweet Dreams, so he's doing a bunch of social media activity to promote it. He's actually in the US at the moment, doing the rehearsal for The Tonight Show and participating in a station head party. JK uses his phone to recommend a bunch of music through the Instagram account dedicated to his dog. He also posts on Weverse that the days are finally warming up. Jimin is enlisted in the same unit as him and comments that it's still cold. JK replies that Jimin should stop texting when he's sitting right next to him and could just speak. And that brings us to this year, March 9th, 2026. Suga will turn 33. I don't know what he's going to be up to, of course, but it will be his first birthday since being discharged from civil service nearly 9 months ago. And it will be 11 days before the big release of BTS's comeback, Arirang. So likely a very happy but very busy birthday. Song discussion. People by Agust D. People was released as a B-side on Suga's second solo album, D2, released on May 22nd, 2022. A little about the album first. This was technically Suga's second mixtape at the time, released under the name Agust D. For those newer army who might be listening, before June 2022 and what we started calling Chapter 2, the rap line released what they called mixtapes rather than albums. With the exception of RM's very first mixtape, these were essentially albums. The only difference was that they were released for free on SoundCloud. They would usually have 1 or 2 music videos, just like a regular album, but beyond that, they were not promoted or on any official platforms or music shows. When the military enlistment era arrived and BTS decided it was time to release and promote their solo work officially, the rap line retroactively released their previous original songs from their so-called mixtapes onto streaming platforms. So that's why you can find all 3 of Agust D's albums on streaming today, except only one of them has an actual physical album that you can buy. Suga composed the song People during the group's vacation in August and September 2019. After their particularly bad burnout in 2018, BTS had it written into their new contract that they would get a substantial vacation each year in which to physically and mentally recover from the demands of performing. 2019 was the first time that the contract came into effect, and it was quite clear that Suga didn't really know how to take a vacation. He spent most of his time composing songs for his second mixtape, Or maybe he knew exactly what would help him recover mentally, and that was putting his thoughts and feelings into music. He specifically finished composing People on September 7th, 2019. Since I'm already talking about him composing the song, let's talk about the lyrics first. Then we'll get into what Suga has said about it in the years following its release and some notable performances. There's no music video for this one, so although this episode is already too long, at least it won't be even longer. As usual, I won't play the song due to copyright, so please go listen to it. It's a great song. The title of the song is People, or Saram in Korean. In the song, Suga plays with the wordplay between Saram, Sara, and Sarang, which, to simplify things, would mean person, to live, and love. Those who know RM's track Trivial Love from the Love Yourself Answer album will be very familiar with the associations between these three words in Korean. The song was written and produced by Agust D, aka Suga, and longtime BTS producer P-Dog. The song starts with, yeah, a gentle breeze, people that brush past, people that soak into my heart. For those unfamiliar with the imagery, and forgive me because I'm not sure if this is a Korean thing or a BTS thing, but BTS will often write about encounters between themselves and other people as a gentle breeze that brushes past. Sort of those fleeting encounters you might have with someone that can either have no impact at all or a great one depending on the nature of the encounter. Suga continues. What kind of person am I? Am I a good person or a bad person? The assessments are all different. I'm just a person too. This song, as we'll see, is fundamentally about Suga reclaiming his humanity in the face of celebrity. And he starts us off pretty strongly with this debate other people seem to be having about whether he's a good person or a bad one. Or perhaps it's a debate that he himself is having, and his own assessments change every day. But fundamentally, he can only come to the conclusion that good or bad, he is still a person. Everyone will live, everyone will love, everyone will fade and be forgotten. People change, like I have changed too. Living a life in the world, there's nothing that lasts forever. Everything is just a happening that passes by. I feel like these lines really ground us in reality further. Why are we fussing and trying to define someone's or our own character as something unchangeable and infinite, when everyone lives, loves, and fades and is forgotten in the end, when everyone changes, when Suga has already changed from who he once was? Everything is just a happening that passes by is very much in line with RM's song Everything Goes from his 2018 project Mono. As a side note, the Korean word for happening is the loan word happening, and you can hear it in the song, and I love the way it's pronounced in the language. I did not do it justice just then. Next, we get a little pre-chorus part that's cute, in my opinion, where Yoongi asks in English, why so serious? I'm so serious. I shortened it. Anyway, Yoongi then goes on to question why he cares, why it matters. In these lines, I've used Bangtan's subs version that uses the first person pronoun because I believe he's talking about himself, but the Korean is indeed more ambiguous, so it could be translated as you instead. What about it? If it just passes by, what about it? What about it? If I get hurt, what about it? Sometimes I might be in pain again. Sometimes I might get upset and shed tears. What about it? If I live like that, what about it? To me, those lines are questioning why certain events are treated as things you shouldn't experience. Obviously, our brains are wired to avoid pain and hurt, and that logically extends to emotional pain and hurt too. But I think the what about it question is a so what? It's inevitable that you will feel pain and you will be upset. So why then also beat yourself up about failing to avoid it? It's a fact of life that sometimes these things will happen. If your response to them is shedding tears, that's not a weakness, it's humanity. Suga continues, flow along the way the water flows. Maybe there's something at the end, a special life, an ordinary life, each of them on their own. What's good is good in the end. What's good is good. We'll come back to this sentiment later, but I love the framing of this. Celebrity isn't different than so-called ordinary life. Each of them are their own lives, and each of them are good lives. Yoongi continues to describe the universal experience of life or being a person. It doesn't always go as planned. Everyone puts up with inconvenience. The repetition of dramatic situations can make life exhausting. People are like that. When it's not there, you wish it were. When it's there, you wish it weren't. Who said that humans are the animals of wisdom? to my eyes, were clearly animals of regret. And oh my God, I love that last line so much. I quote it all the time, mostly to myself. I grew up with a bunch of adults that often spoke of their regrets. And so I vowed at a young age that I'd do my best to never regret anything. And not in the stupid no regrets way where everything is YOLO, but more in that I would accept the choices that I made in life and move forward through the consequences to the best of my ability. And I would not sit around wondering what would have happened if I had taken another path. Would my life be better? Inevitably, though, you do have those thoughts, even if you don't want to. They're inescapable, even as much as the answers to those questions are unknowable. You are who you are because of the decisions you made, for better or for worse. After a repeat of the chorus, Yoongi repeats the lines, "Your ordinary is my extraordinary. Your extraordinary is my ordinary. My ordinary is your extraordinary. Your extraordinary is my ordinary." This is the only difference as Suga sees it between celebrity life and non-celebrity life. For Suga, being able to go to the grocery store and just be another person, anonymous in the crowd, is an extraordinary event, while being on a stage in front of thousands is literally just another day at the office. There are pluses and minuses to every type of life. No matter who you are, you might look at your neighbor and think, wow, I wish I had their life. Meanwhile, they're looking at you and thinking the same. Suga talked about this idea in episode 5 of their docu-series Break the Silence, which you can purchase on Weverse. He said, "You lose as much as you gain as much as you lose. For me, I lost the ordinary. That's the biggest change. What that means is, what's ordinary to others is very special to me, whereas what's special to others is very ordinary to me. Then, before you know it, your set of values changes, the values with which you see the world." We can abstract this further. I live in Canada. I had never in my life conceived of natural water that was warm. When I traveled, I visited a friend who was born and raised in Bermuda, and I got into the ocean there, and it was warm. The ocean was warm. I had never, ever been even in a warm lake in my life, let alone an entire ocean that was somehow, there was a spot in it that was warm. Then years later, I was talking to a Ghanaian man who we were just making conversation, and he mentioned that in Ghana, the rain is warm. And I had never considered that anything that originated from the sky, besides the sun, could ever be warm. Even in the height of summer in Canada, we welcome the rain because it cools things down. The water of rain is always some degree of cold. It is never some degree of warm. Meanwhile, at various times in my life, I've seen someone from Zimbabwe and someone from Pakistan experience their first ever snowfall as an adult. Something so very ordinary for me is absolutely magical for them to see, for that brief moment at least. And eventually, since both of them moved to Canada, I know that it will become ordinary to them too, that their value will change, that the wonder of the snow will fade, and they may even grow to hate seeing it and what it means for the season passing. But in that moment, my ordinary is their extraordinary. Just like when I went swimming in Bermuda in the summertime and found out that the ocean, or at least a small portion of it, was capable of being warm. And my Bermudian friend just laughed at my surprise because she'd been swimming in the warm ocean every year of her life. Suga repeats the chorus to close, asking, what about it? What if you get hurt and feel pain again? If you live like that, what about it? As I said, fundamentally, I think this song is about recognizing everyone's humanity, including his own. Humans live, love, and fade away and are forgotten. In your life, you're going to get hurt and you're going to cry. No matter what your life, you will have troubles. You'll have ordinary and extraordinary experiences, and those might be different than what the majority of people would categorize them as. But that doesn't change the fact that those things are ordinary or extraordinary to you. Yoongi did a D2 album behind V Live on May 28th, 2020, which you can now find on Weverse. Fun fact about this live is that it was actually a live done in the short break they had midway through filming In the Soup Season 1. That's the reality series where BTS go and stay at a rental house in the countryside for a week. Only they couldn't get that many consecutive days in a row, so midway through the week, they actually returned to Seoul to do some work, and then they went back to the rental to finish their staycation. While they were doing their work in Seoul, Yoongi found time to pop into his dorm room and do a live stream about D2 for ARMY. In the live, Yoongi says that a lot of people who listened to the album before it was released liked People the most, and the song is really touching these days. Among the beats that went into this album, People was one of the oldest. He had originally made it when creating possible solo songs for the album Wings. He ended up creating First Love for himself, but created the beat for People as a possibility to give to others. He intended it to go to Jimin. That obviously didn't happen, so 4 years later it appeared on D2. He did originally intend for it to feature a singer, but that didn't work out either. At the time of the live stream, he thought it was a shame that his selected feature didn't work out, though personally, I love the fact that this song is just Yoongi. He used the guide vocal and rap for the song in the end. Suga thinks it's always better to sing the song as soon as he writes it, because he's practiced it a lot from singing it while writing it. Later in the documentary Road to D-Day, which I believe you can find on a streaming platform, but I know you can also purchase on Weverse. Anyway, in the Road to D-Day, which follows Suga in the creation of this album, Suga talks about a time when he was able to listen to People as though he were someone else and not the creator of it. And it brought him to tears, to the point where he wrote People Part 2 for D-Day, which I believe likely captures the thoughts that were inspired in him when he was able to listen to People as though he didn't create it. I'll talk about People Part 2 in some future episode, I'm sure, but he made it his pre-release track for the album, and by doing so, I feel like that tells us just how important People has become for him. In terms of performances, he released a shortened version of a live-to-camera performance of it as a clip from the Road to D-Day documentary. You can watch it on the Bangtan TV YouTube channel. It's called Agust D, People Live Clip, 90 inches, Suga Road to D-Day. 90 minutes? 90 seconds? 90 seconds. It's 90 quote mark in brackets. It's like in brackets 90 double quote mark, and I've only ever seen the double quote mark used for inches. So I'm confused, but it might be seconds. Who knows? He also performed it when he appeared on IU's Palette, which is IU's YouTube show. He introduced it by explaining that story about finding comfort in it, but he also elaborated and mentioned that before, his songs were really angry, but he feels like with People, he finally got softer around the edges. And of course, we got great performances of People on Suga's Agust D D-Day tour in 2023. Unfortunately, the clip you can find uploaded on YouTube is a clip from his Japan concert, which is still amazing. But Suga was pretty sick during those shows, and you can hear it in his voice. I mean, some might prefer it. It adds a rough rasp to his voice. He still kills it, of course. There are tons of stops on that tour, and you can purchase a recording of the Seoul concert from Weverse and hear him in a little better condition. And this episode is already way too long, so I'm going to just stop there because Yoongi doesn't do choreo per se. There's not much to say about the performances beyond that he sounds amazing in them and looks amazing too, of course. And I absolutely love this song. If you have any thoughts on People or Suga's birthday, please reach out. Next episode is not decided yet. I'm going to take a little bit of a break until after Arirang comes out. Partially because I want to focus on the comeback, but also because I happen to be starting a new job on March 9th, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to fit podcast production into my new schedule until I know what my new schedule is. So this will likely be the only episode in March, and then once I settle into my new routine and BTS release Arirang, I'll decide on an April date for the next episode and what song I want to do. I'm pretty tempted to pick one of the new ones. I'll announce things on my Blue Sky account when I decide. So, thanks for listening, and see you after the comeback. I'm so excited. And that brings us to the end of this week's episode. If you'd like to discuss this episode, or next week's song, or have a say in what song gets chosen in the future, you can find me on Patreon and Ko-fi at A Brand New Day Pod. You can also find me on Blue Sky at A Brand New Day Pod, or you can email me at abrandnewdaypod@gmail.com. Thank you. Have a good day.